All right, it is time for more The Roottrees Are Dead. We are playing Roottreemania, the second campaign. We'll save on slot 2. Raph says, did I change my hoodie? It looks more vibrant. I did not.
Hi, I'm Clark. Probably not who you expected to be knocking, but life's funny sometimes.
Huh.
You've done well staying anonymous. It took us a while to track you down. A lot has happened in the last year. Far too much of it public. But there's stuff going on behind the scenes, too.
You don't say.
I never wanted to be president. I'm not great with stress. With my mother's deteriorating I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here because part of the fallout of Sam's book is that everyone's coming out of the woodwork. Now that it's public knowledge that Clancy Trust covers any Roottree despite their history with us, a lot of potential cousins have surfaced.
Oh, controversial.
You may have seen that man on the cover of News Time. It was a disaster for us.
You guys should just do a 23andMe. You know what I mean? Is it really that hard to get genealogy nowadays? Because I feel like, you know, I feel like people find their secret families through 23andMe a little bit often now. Am I crazy? Is that wrong? I don't think it's wrong. I think I'm right. Sorry, I was responding to a message. All right.
And then Miracle went and made it all about himself. The long and short of it is a lot of potential cousins just showed up. Sam's helping some of them, but she's not really going about it the right way. And she's not taking calls from anyone in the family. I let it slip through a mutual friend that I found you, and I was stopping in. It's manipulative, but I'm hoping she'll reach out to you. You can let her know I'm on her side. In the meantime, if you're willing, I can share our files with you. Pass them along to Sam if she reaches out. I'm genuinely hoping she'll realize I'm an ally. Feel free to do your own research. I've been told you enjoy things like this. To each their own.
Okay, Clark turned out to be 1,000,000 times more reasonable than I expected someone who slept with his wife's sister. Oh my god. We have to choose first and last names now? We can't just... oh, no. We can't just order of operations them. First affair? Look at all these affairs. Infidelity? Oh, no. This is going to be so much. Is this a gay one? Is there gay marriage in this now? This is hard mode. And the stormy rain sounds in the background. How atmospheric. Ooh, so exciting. I'm gonna turn down the volume though, because holy crap is it loud. That is not it. Ambient sounds, that's what we want. There we go. Sound effects can be like up there. That is pretty loud actually. All of this is loud. It's too loud. There we go. That's better. All right, I guess we're just going back to it. Previously on The Roottrees Are Dead. There's a new investigation with a new focus. 8! After many months of newfound interest in the Roottrees, it is recommended you try to catch up with some of what happened since last time. Some web searches may yield new or different results, and some books and magazines from your previous investigation may be relevant to your new one. It is also a much more widespread search. The list of first and last names you can choose from will contain red herrings. Not all of them will be used. Below is a reminder of some of the most notable beats of your initial dive into the Roottree family. All evidence from before is still available, and for your convenience, any searches that do not lead to new information still function as they did during your first investigation. Oof! Roottree Candy Company was founded by Elias and Gwyneth many years ago. The entire family has a financial reliance on the health of that company. Most of the action took place in or around Butler County, Pennsylvania, where the company was initially located. Elias, Carl, and Raina were on the cover of magazines. The other notable Roottrees, such as Lauren Roottree, Miracle Roottree, and Jim Roottree, had physical media such as record albums, books. Lauren's 2 diaries were probably the most useful resources overall, mentioning many of her relatives directly. The 5 pieces, Elias's children, could be identified based on the initials of the original candy flavors. This was like a hint that we never used. I didn't even recognize that. I didn't even think about it. But there were actually 6 pieces. There were 5 presidents of the Roottree Company. Many were featured in periodicals. Stephanie Jones and Brian Jones were featured in campaign posters and led to Caroline Morden's art book, which enabled you to fill out more of the tree. Many of the younger Roottrees were found by following a complex rabbit hole through a conspiracy site that led to finding a searchable web address for Chris. Yep. November Roottree was really difficult to place. Her occupation could only be found by a Brian Jones Company website. Ronald and his brother Robert Roottree go by Ron and Robbie. Both worked on a TV show called Brother Trouble until Robbie embezzled money and fled to Paris. Ron unsuccessfully tried to have Robbie removed from the Clanted Trust. Sam and her father were cryptically mentioned in a book about historical letters. Aloysius Herring Roottree, who claimed he was a Roottree but was not. Family Man, a book about Elias Roottree, turned out to be propaganda and not useful. Lauren's other books, historical romance novels, were not very useful on their own, though could lead to other information. Carolyn Mordren's sculptures were not useful. Okay. Today is August 3rd, 1999. It has been 8 months since you helped Sam Madsen with the research necessary for her book. Sam was true to her word and paid you an incredibly large sum of money. She never mentioned you by name, however, so you've managed to keep a low profile. Ow, I just pulled a muscle in my shoulder. She never mentioned you by name. You managed to keep a low profile on the Rootrees. On the other hand, have not. The Rootrees, on the other hand, have not. Below is a summary of notable events since the book's release that you can refresh your memory in full detail by searching online. 6 pieces. Sam Madsen's book about Elias Roottree was released in February. It was a bestseller for a few months. At the time, Carl had not yet been replaced. The Roottree Rift. In March, the Roottree Company stumbled publicly as they attempted to respond to the book's release with multiple conflicting press releases and a clear lack of leadership. Clark Rafferty LaRue. Clark was announced as a permanent successor to Carl Roottree and welcomed Sam Madsen to the family officially. The company hired an outside legal group to handle the changes to the Clanted Trust. This included any other new questions of lineage. 5 Ps. After this announcement, there was a rash of different people claiming to be Rootrees, mostly dismissed as opportunists and scammers. The highest profile of these, by a wide margin, was a rapper named Felix Fellows, who changed his moniker to 5 Ps as a publicity move at the time. 5 Ps is the only notable person on the updated tree. That sucks. Roottreemania. In another high-profile misstep, Miracle Roottree publicly and vehemently denied that 5 Ps was a Roottree. The Roottree's legal team then offered to do a DNA test to get 5 Ps to drop his claim, and in a moment that caught what seemed like the entire world by storm, the test proved he was a Roottree. Suddenly, the world was obsessed with the Roottrees. Anonymom and Jane Doe Roottree. In July, an anonymous woman who the press began to refer to as Anonymom appeared in interviews with her face and voice disguised. She claimed that an affair with a Roottree led to the birth of her daughter, aka Jane Doe Roottree. If true, this would make her daughter yet another secret Roottree, and therefore entitled to a share of the Clanted Trust. Nobody knew it at the time, but this would turn out to be the last chapter in the Roottreemania saga. As more and more of Anonymom's story came out, people began to notice how much it echoed 5 Ps in nearly every significant way. The court of public opinion began to turn, confirming the world's suspicions. The DNA tests, orchestrated by lawyers on both sides, proved that her daughter was not a Roottree. The final event caused public disappointment, smugness from doubters, and countless accusations of an entire ordeal being elaborate hoax or attempt at fraud. Things got a bit ugly, and the fun of Roottreemania seemed to disappear overnight. Now, a month later, it feels like a distant memory. Yeah, this is just a summary of what just happened. Every time there's a high-profile public case, it causes headaches. So please, I don't mind if you do your research, but I ask that you stop going to the press. Instead, we have a highly trained team of lawyers to back you up. We're ready and willing to verify anyone and everyone you believe could be realistically part of a relationship that led to the birth of a new Roottree. Just tell us who to investigate by filling in the new sections of the tree, and we'll take the time to handle verifying that the timeline checks out. But keep in mind why we're here. If someone didn't have a child or has already been disqualified by our lawyers, like in the case of the girl with the negative DNA test, there won't be a place for them on the tree. We're not just looking for affairs and infidelities, we're only looking for the ones that led to a potential new Roottree. Some spots in the new section will be marked with a tree icon. Those areas are reserved for members of the original family tree you filled out 8 months ago. Just like last time, be sure to use birth names for everyone you add. Married names or nicknames won't be enough. To start sorting out the infidelities, I recommend you turn your eyes to the men in positions of power. I'd love to say that's only because it would have been a lot harder for the women to hide 9 months of pregnancy and birth without a family noticing, but I can't. I'll be blunt. I'm no stranger to infidelity. Yeah, no shit. I wish I could claim that I was a perfect husband, but you've seen the family tree, so why pretend? Some of us learned how to wield our family name and fortune to our benefit, consequences be damned. I can't change the past or unhurt those who I betrayed. Instead, all I can do is be honest with myself and to you, refuse to make any more mistakes, and do my best to sort out the various messes we've left behind. So please fill in the tree, and together we can figure out how to begin to make amends. Good luck, and thank you both. Clark. Okay. Clark might be an okay dude, maybe. I don't know. This person is also on the original tree. Well, we know this person's name is going to be Roottree, and they're probably going to be a male. So I'm going to put that there. 5Ps is the only guy. This is an unknown male. What was his name? Fellows? Felix Fellows? Musician. It's just called internet now. It's not spider search or whatever. Cashew PC to NutOS 1.1. Upgrade includes thousands of bugs, fixes, and enhancements. Your system should be more stable. Computer is ready for Y2K. Recommend shutting down on New Year's Eve just in case. File names can be 20 characters long. That should be enough for everyone. CD and the drive upside down will no longer heat the plastic to dangerous temperatures. Okay. Okay. 5P okay. Felix Fellows is a rapper who has found recent radio play after being publicly confirmed as a long-lost Roottree. Alias 5Ps, play in 5 pieces. Oh, fuck. Harsh reviews of modern music gives his most recent album, Root of All Evil, 1 star out of 7, with headline, more poser than my action figure collection. Reviews mention his real name is David, and he used to go by Dirte Davy, and the author rues the fact that this rebranding was a blatant marketing stunt at the expense of his mother's tragic past. She overdosed when he was 16. Apparently, only one of the songs on the album is new. The others were simply rewritten to turn blatant references to sex, drugs, and violence into clumsy euphemisms. His rise to prominence was kick-started when he appeared a few months ago on the cover of News Time holding a photo of his mother with Guy Hudson. At first, the Roottree company denied it vehemently. Miracle Roottree even appeared on the same magazine a week later, but since then they've backtracked and publicly welcomed him into the family. But I thought his name is Felix Fellows. Five P's debut album. According to various sources, the album mostly material that 5P's recorded for his mixtapes before he became notable, but re-recorded with lyrical differences in professional production. All Your Problems was the first and only single released. After dropping the single, 5P's announced he'd retain the infamous celebrity lawyer Stevie Whitlock to sue his family. To date, it doesn't seem like he followed through. At first, the single didn't make much of a splash, but Whitlock, known for publicity stunts, paid thousands of teenagers a few dollars an hour to call and request the video on MTV, which increased its profile. MTV eventually caught on and banned the video altogether, which in turn received national news coverage and made the song even more popular. All Your Problems. This track is the only new song on the album. The subject matter of the song is the hypocrisy of those who claim money is evil. He points out that the only people who think money is evil are those that have it, those that can afford not to be greedy. In the song, 5P's triumphantly talks about taking the Roottree's wealth due to it being his birthright and giving it those who need it most. Find a copy of the song on a suspicious-looking website, download it for my records. Dirty Davy. David Fellows. Dirty Davy was 5P's previous stage name. He used to sell records and perform live shows in Portland under that name. There are some people selling his old mixtapes. One is apparently called Dirty Devil, and the other is Dirt Poor. Dirty Devil was 5P's first mixtape, released as Dirty Davy from the 90s. There's discrepancies and debates about what year exactly it released, based on the pop culture references within the range. One of the songs, Yes I Can Jump, seems to be at the center of the confusion. Some fan sites claim that there are multiple versions with different track lists and song lengths, though because there's very little evidence of the mixtape online as it is, it's even harder to verify that information. Jesus, this is a fucking Wikipedia rabbit hole already. Yes, I Can Jump is a song that was on 5 Pieces mixtape Dirty Devil. It seems to be the only song that didn't make it onto a studio album. Jesus. His studio album that people thought it should have. In it references a popular movie from 1992 called White Men Can't Jump. The reference has caused some confusion amongst the fan base. Because of it, it is agreed upon that the mixtape had to come out in 1992 at the earliest, but others point out that Fellows references seeing the movie on his 17th birthday, which would have been 1994. Some take this to mean that the album had to have been released in 1994 at the earliest. Others claim he was likely just trying to make himself sound older, since in response to some more questionable lyrics, he stated multiple times that he was just a dumb kid when it was released. I can only delete the note. Okay, that's fine. Dirt Poor is a mixtape by Dirty Davy released in 1996. There's a lot of online discourse, people who point out that one of the songs Felix Fellows includes someone that would have been revealed to be his own distant cousin Raina in a list of attractive women. Dear God. The lyrics to one of the songs, Heat, mentions different prominent female actresses, models, and musicians from the 90s, provides crude pun or line about what Fellows felt about them. When re-released in 1999, much of the rhetoric was toned down to be less overtly profane, and the line referencing Raina was clumsily replaced by Dana, a reference to the character from The X-Files, Dana Scully. Okay, so his name is Dave Fellows.
Attention, Roottrees. This is 5 Piece coming at you from the real world. You know, the place you ain't ever lived in.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Root of all your
Man,
problems.
y'all are hypocrites, sitting back in your massive estates, built from the cash that your ancestors gave you, acting like you somehow deserve it, based on your family's creations.
But looky here, sonny, don't you come for our money, or you might burn bright in hellfire someday, like that Madsen chick.
And her 2 dads. My pappy's peasant trust should keep you away. Yo, it's disturbing, catching a sermon from a geezer who's never known hurt, but blurts out these claims that somehow we're sinners, cause we didn't earn it. When all of your worth it came free with your name, you expect me to treat your lectures on greed as some expert creed from heed without blame. How about instead, I turn my other cheeks and spread them. When you give me a kiss, you'll know just where to aim.
You say money is the root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. So once more with passion, tell this poor tragic orphan how your mansions and Porsches are actually horrible.
How I'm better off penniless, grasping for morsels. How wanting my share,
That's actually extortion with your candy ass name, synonymous with sweets. Oh, you wanna call me classless? I'm gangster from Portland, but I play that game. I can't.
The idea of gangster from Portland is very funny.
Park Place and board, your hypocrisy. Monopoly is toppling. When I knock, have G's.
top off my pockets, please.
Cause the same God that got to steal my mom from me is what he wants, right? For you to live in poverty. And if you're suddenly not eager to unhand that fortune, that's unfortunate. I guess I'm gonna have to take my portion, and I'll do it all legally. Class action, courtrooms, decorum. I'm way past your fancy ass doorman.
You say money is the root
Huh. Okay.
of let me take those.
Music is loud. There we go. Siva Whitlock is a lawyer with a history of publicity stunts and grandstanding. Still, she's managed to rack up quite a few legal victories for C-list celebrities and athletes. She became famous in the mid-1980s after successfully suing a multinational sandwich company whose 12-inch subs were actually an average of 11.5 inches long. Stevie argued that since the company sold 1 billion sandwiches per year, that was enough missing sandwich to make a sub long enough to span from New York to Los Angeles. The jury awarded her a paltry $5,000, but the news coverage of her crusade turned out to be priceless. Unfortunately, none of this seems to be related to the Roottrees. News time. This is what I need. News Time is a major news periodical that releases a new issue every week. The rapper 5Ps famously appeared on the cover, claiming to be a Roottree. Then 1 week later, Miracle Roottree did the same, denying that he was. Because of this high-profile back-to-back discourse right before the start of Roottreemania, they appeared to be the de facto publication to get news about the ongoing Roottrees saga. They reported record subscriber numbers during this time, which lasted until the end of Roottreemania, when the world generally stopped paying attention and they went back to reporting on more traditional news. I'm a Secret Roottree. Episodes. Late night hosts and guests made jokes about other lost members of the family, and there was a widely shared website where you could fill in your own name to find out if you were a secret Roottree. When submitted your name, it simply said no with an image of Clark Rafferty LaRue giving you the finger. That's funny. Rootreemania lasted only a few weeks, just long enough for 6 pieces to re-enter the charts. Unwrapping America's Sweetest Family by Sam Madsen was released in early 1999. Okay. Sam Madsen's book was released earlier this year, details the truth about Elias Roottree, as well as Sam's fathers, Edward Clancy Roottree and John Miller. You helped identify her story, so much of the book's core contents are familiar to you. That said, Sam had some sections on other family secrets and rumors. Much of it didn't matter to the primary purposes of the book, and some of it is new to you. It may be important to your search. Nice. Reviews are mixed, and its time on the bestsellers list was limited to only 2 months. Most reviewers agreed that the core of the book, about Samantha's fathers and the struggles they faced, was compelling, and that the takedown of the hypocrisy of Elias Roottree was deserved. However, many took umbrage with the timing of the release and the tone of the book, which seemed vindictive. Very true. I didn't copy it wrong. There's a title limit. There's a letter limit, I think. There's an older version of this page in the Time Travel Archive. Are you fucking kidding me? There's a Wayback Machine in this game? Christ almighty. The fallout from the book led to the Roottree company scrambling to release a statement, and due to a conflict of leadership, famously released multiple conflicting official statements over 3 days. A confusing move was referenced pop culture due to a late-night sketch about indecisionitis. The more traditional analysts have been calling it the Roottree Rift. A few months later, due to Roottreemania, re-entered the charts. Indecisionitis was a disease coined by a popular sketch show as part of a fake pharmaceutical advertisement for Jit Together. Okay. While the segment isn't fully about the Roottree Candy Company, it was released in the weeks after their bizarre response to the release of 6 pieces. And the sketch woman ordered a number 5 at a drive-thru speaker. After pulling forward, she changed her mind at the window and switched to a number 3. This caused a lengthy backup and annoyance amongst restaurant employees and other patrons. After she pulled away as the employees began helping other customers, the same woman then barged into the restaurant, past a current line, loudly complaining that she didn't receive her number 5. After this, the sketch transitioned from the restaurant scene into a pharmaceutical commercial. A doctor claims a woman was suffering from indecisionitis, a disease that causes extreme confusion and irritability, and has been found to severely hinder the leaders of large corporations, but could also spread to humans. That's actually funny. Yeah, having a Wayback Machine is a worrying precursor for just how deep the rabbit hole goes, says Zept. Yeah, that's fucked. I'm so screwed. The final testimony included a bald man in silhouette with a voice changer saying, "I'm not comfortable sharing who I am, but I am comfortable saying that before I took over my family's candy company, I really should have gotten my jit together." That's funny. That's a funny sketch. Show older. Okay, so this is horrifying, because this tells me that it's not useful for this, but it is useful for something else, which is devastating to me. Sam's book has a few different passages about her own history with the company and the rumors and gossip she collected during that tenure. She ran a farm for a period starting around 1968 after the death of Elias Roottree until her daughter Gwyneth took over in 1984. Most of the relevant rumors, coincide with the reign of Guy Hudson, who took over as president in 1978. Sam was very much not a fan of Guy, and according to 6 pieces, it was an open secret within the family that Guy was very much not a fan of remaining faithful to his wife, Patricia. Many of the hires at the time were young single women, and Guy often spent a lavish amount of money on private parties. This was 20 years ago, and Sam warns that most of it is hearsay. Still, you find the following information that may be relevant. One of Sam's farm supervisors was named Elizabeth. Elizabeth had a daughter, who Sam never met, but who worked as one of Guy's secretaries. According to Elizabeth, a caterer from a local restaurant called Antonellis met her daughter at one of Guy's parties, and they eloped quickly due to pregnancy. Elizabeth wasn't aware that the party was for swingers. Wow. Rumor has it that her daughter showed up with Guy and didn't seem comfortable switching partners. Guy's main positive contribution to the company involved expanding to markets previously untapped by a Roottree. However, when he went on trips overseas, they were often for weeks at a time, and Guy was known for spending more time and money on unofficial business than meetings with distributors and manufacturers. It was said that he bribed at least one politician to open a factory in Brazil. There's also a section where Sam speculates that Elias may have also cheated on Gwyneth. Gwyneth was always much kinder to Sam than Elias was, and was the first to invite Sam to family events. While she has no hard evidence, Sam always got the impression that Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias into allowing Sam back into the family using some kind of leverage, instead of it being a natural course of events. She mentioned that Elias and Gwyneth were known to loudly argue, sometimes about another woman. Sam also says her son Ernie once asked her who's Beth because he overheard them yelling about someone with that name. As far as Sam knows, Elias once had a secretary named Elizabeth, a different Elizabeth than the supervisor at the farm, but she never met her. Jesus Christ almighty. This is already a disaster for me, guys. I don't know how I'm ever going to recover from this. Miracle Roottree appeared on the cover of News Time, denying that Felix Fellows was a Roottree. Felix Fellows, aka 5Ps, famously appeared on cover of News Time, kicking off Roottreemania. Then a week later, Miracle Roottree appeared on the cover of the magazine in an article that focused heavily on 5Ps as well. Nothing. All right, let's look at these and slap some pictures down. Felix Fellows appeared on the cover of News Time holding a photo of his mother and Guy Hudson. This article concerns his insistence that his father was Guy Hudson. Story was dramatic and sensational, initially dismissed as fake until a DNA test proved that he was related to Guy Hudson. 5P says his mother Joanna was Zach Morton's secretary when he retired, and then Guy Hudson's secretary for only 1 or 2 weeks after that before she quit. First few weeks that he was president. His parents divorced when he was 4 after his father learned of the affair. Felix and his mother then moved to Portland because she was afraid for her son's life. He grew up with her until he was 16, but one day his mother never came home from the movie rental store where she worked the register. The next morning they found her dead from an overdose in her car. She had stolen all of the cash from the drawer and spent it on heroin. As Felix went through her belongings, the only thing he had to remember her by were a hairbrush she always used, some photos, and a stuffed animal. My phone is buzzing. Why is my phone buzzing? Okay. So a letter from a father containing threats. He threw it all away with the exception of one photo that appears on the cover of News Time. He says it was the only one where they were dressed, the only one not from the affair itself. The picture is shown in full inside the magazine and was added to your evidence. The magazine also includes some additional history about 5P's career. Felix Fellows was born to Riley and Joanna Fellows, but has never rapped without a moniker. He tried to find success by opening for other artists and even by selling CDs on street corners in Portland. He's only recently started going as 5Ps to harness the power of his lineage. The writer did some research into the truth of these claims and was able to confirm that Joanna did work for the Roottree company as a secretary during the mid-70s, confirmed she died of a drug overdose, and that Felix went into foster care soon after. Reached out to the Roottree company, but at the moment the company's blanket statement was, since the release of a recent book, Roottree has seen an overwhelming number of false ancestral claims. None have been factual, nearly all have been knowingly dishonest. We encourage individuals to reach out to us in an official capacity as opposed to attempting to use our name in the media for publicity. I will pay attention to that later. Rapper 5Ps appeared on the cover of News Time holding a Polaroid of his mother Joanna when she was Zach Morton's secretary at the company picnic. She claims that Joanna and Guy Hudson in the photo were having an affair that led to his birth. This... Yeah, this is Guy Hudson. No, not second, third. Her last name is Fellows. Was it Riley? Underground secret tunnel built by a Batman supervillain, says Leper. Yeah, tell me about it. So we have an angle here. We gotta find this lady. I have a guess about this one. I think it's these two. Let's... Right? Because she's pregnant in the thing. So this has to be child. That was a fucking swing, guys. I don't know. Infidelity 1 is... This is going to be Elias. Right? Oh, no, it's here. Elias Roottree. President first. And I can't pick old. How many do I need to get a lock in? I need 4. Fuck me, guys. Shit. Ooh, what's going on here? new articles. This is the old version, this new version. Elias and Gwyneth Roottree were never really celebrities, but the general's public perception of them as classic faces associated with the Roottree Candy Company had always been in somewhat high regards. This was Elias' intention. Since Six Pieces, the Candy Company has placed much less of an emphasis on Elias as a historical brand-connected figure. But there have also been those who have argued that it was his right to decide how to split his inheritance and that he did nothing wrong. Heated television exchanges and countless op-eds. First Anderson Maple Farm only used to be a popular tourist attraction during the summer, seeing an explosion of off-season business, support for Elias and Gwyneth's traditional values, and financial rights. This rise in support was in turn followed by pickets from gay rights activists when some particular inflammatory organizations made their pilgrimages. Amongst all this conflict, the quotes from Bess Williams' book appear to have been taken down. Nice. What was this? Family Man was the name of the book. Let's go. If I can snag this one. Bam! We did it! We got our first lock-in. Guys, I'm so fucking smart here. Guys, let's fucking go. Let's go. I was so right about Miracle. Hell yeah.
Has Clark reached out to you?
Jesus, she scared me. That was loud.
Let me give you a short history lesson about the last few months of my life. 3 different people contacted me, claiming that somewhere in their history, they might be Roottrees.
Maddox says you got it entirely right just by guessing who was a man whore. Beautiful. So true.
First, that young man, the rapper. I ignored that one. He seemed dubious. But then I saw the news. I felt terrible, so I began helping the others. Because my doubts with Felix were so misfounded, I ended up putting too much faith in the second person that approached me. I went to the media prematurely. I admit my mistake there. But the third person who contacted me also had a credible case. Before I could help, the company got to them somehow. The fact that the family silenced them doesn't seem to fill me with hope when it comes to Clark's intentions. But you're making progress based on the leads he gave you. It's really hard for me to get a read on him. I'll let you handle it. I've sent you the case I've been working on, and some company records I managed to track down. The records are quite dense, but hopefully they're useful. Good luck!
Thanks, girl.